All right, here's our worship leading question for today. When it comes to the corporate worship gathering that you lead, a Sunday night, Wednesday night, youth service, wherever it is that you lead, here's the question. Who runs the show? What I mean by that is, who's the person who gets asked all the questions about the worship service? Hey, what's being announced today? Hey, when are we going to play the video? What happens at the end after closing prayer? Is there a song, or is there going to be some sort of different benediction thing? Who gets asked those questions? Probably it's your pastor. If you're at a mid-sized church or small church, the answer is probably, our pastor runs the show. Pastor gets asked all those questions about the worship order. Now, the pastor gets asked a lot of other questions too, about when's the deacon meeting and how's the budget and are we ever going to fix the playground, all those other things too. But in most churches, the pastor's also getting asked all the questions about the order of service. And if that's your answer, my controversial take on this issue is that that's the wrong answer. You should be running the show. You should be the person who can answer questions about the worship order. They should be asking you about the video. They should be asking you about announcements. They should be asking you about the benediction. You should be able to answer those questions. A lot of times we are not able to answer those questions. A lot of us still act as if we're just some band that got hired to come in and play 4 songs. But you're the worship leader. You're pastorally in charge of these people as they sing and worship God. And you should be the one answering those questions. And let me make a case for why. When you know the worship order, and you know what's coming, and you can help make decisions, and you're sort of in charge of that, you take that off of the pastor's shoulders. And one of the things that happens is you free up your pastor to have more one-on-one time with people. When your church gets together, your pastor needs to be meeting guests. Your pastor needs to be hugging necks, asking, hey, how was the baseball game? Oh, we missed y'all last week. Are y'all coming to the Christmas Eve service? That's the kind of stuff your pastor needs to be doing. And if you are able to answer questions about the worship order and you can field some of those, you can give the pastor more margin and more time to do that one-on-one thing. So that's the first way you help a pastor. The second way you help a pastor when you can do this is that you give that pastor time to prepare for the sermon. If you've ever preached before, you know this. I don't get to preach that often, but the few times I have done it, I have been amazed at how much mental brain power it takes to get up and preach a sermon. And your pastor needs that time. Your pastor needs some quiet. They need some time to focus on a Sunday morning to get ready to preach God's word. And when you answer some of those questions, you're able to handle some of those things, to answer them before they ever even get to the senior pastor, you're giving your pastor time to be focused. There have probably been times when you've gotten home on a Sunday and thought this or said it out loud. The sermon was a little weird today. He was kind of rambling and not really focused. And I'm here to tell you that there may have been times where that was your fault. That when we aren't looking for ways to help our pastor by answering those worship order questions, we are adding stress to that pastor's life. We might be preventing the pastor from having the time to get ready to preach that sermon. That long, rambling, distracted sermon might be because you and I were lazy that day. If you can answer questions, if you can keep people on the same page as to what's going to happen when, it is a great gift to give your pastor.